Imagine a moment you've waited for your entire life. A mystery that has haunted history books, documentaries, and late-night whispers finally peeling back its veil. We're talking about the Mother Lode, the mythical storage vault of secrets buried deep in the Nevada desert. Area 51. For decades, it was the ultimate symbol of government secrecy, the place where everyone knew something strange was happening, yet nobody could prove it. The government just chuckled and called it a weather research station, a complete fabrication that only fueled our obsession. But what if I told you that the game is over? What if those highly classified ironclad documents, the ones sealed with 7 layers of national security and paranoia, are now sitting right here, digitized and ready for the world to see? This isn't just theory anymore, friends. This is disclosure, and trust me, you are absolutely not ready for what is hidden inside these files. Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Grab your favorite conspiracy beverage, maybe dim the lights a little, because today we are diving headfirst into the biggest intelligence dump of our lifetime. The official release of the declassified Area 51 documents. This isn't just a few pages. We are talking about literally thousands of scanned files, transcripts, memos, and cryptic reports spanning from the 1940s right up until the early 2000s. The feeling when this news broke was electric. Researchers, historians, and UFO enthusiasts worldwide went into a frenzy. It felt like winning the lottery, except the prize wasn't money. It was the ultimate truth about life, the universe, and everything the government swore didn't exist. This document dump changes the landscape of reality as we know it, shattering myths while simultaneously confirming our deepest fears. For so long, the official government line was clear. Area 51, or Homey Airport as the insiders called it, was purely a site for developing experimental aircraft. Think of the U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, and all those other technological marvels that looked like they flew straight out of a science fiction movie. The government was counting on us to look at those incredible human-made achievements and say, okay, that's what they were hiding. They wanted us to believe that the hundreds of strange lights reported in the 50s and 60s were just these experimental aircraft taking test flights, fooling the untrained eyes of local desert dwellers and pilots who swore they saw things that defied gravity and known physics. It was a perfect, plausible denial strategy that worked for nearly 70 years. But we, the curious public, always knew better, didn't we? We knew that the secrecy surrounding Area 51 went far beyond stealth bombers. Why the armed guards with shoot-to-kill orders patrolling the perimeter of a simple airplane testing facility? Why the endless stream of cryptic tales from whistleblowers like Bob Lazar, who claim to have worked on recovered non-terrestrial technology? The sheer expenditure and the level of classification always suggested a deeper, far more terrifying secret lurking beneath the arid Nevada soil. The documents were the lock, and the collective pressure from journalists and congressional mandates finally became the key that forced the vault open, revealing things that will make your jaw physically drop. The release wasn't clean, of course. This is the government we're talking about. They didn't just hand us a labeled folder titled Confirmed Aliens. They released a dizzying, disorganized mountain of data filled with technical jargon, bureaucratic doublespeak, and miles of dense, microscopic text. It was designed to overwhelm and discourage, hoping that only the most dedicated or insane would wade through the minutia. Imagine sifting through a library where every third page is blacked out with thick, Sharpie redactions, and the code names change every few years, all while knowing that one paragraph, one footnote, could change human history forever. That's the task we faced, and researchers dove in headfirst, powered by pure adrenaline and the desire for definitive answers. The first major finding confirmed what we already knew. Yes, a vast portion of Area 51 was indeed dedicated to advanced aerial reconnaissance programs. We saw detailed schematics of the U-2, mission logs for the A-12 Oxcart, and internal memos debating the effectiveness of early stealth technology. For the skeptics, this was their victory lap. "See?" they shouted. "It was just planes." But those of us who have followed this rabbit hole for years know that the best place to hide the truth is always in plain sight, using known facts as the perfect camouflage for the truly explosive secrets. The initial 80% of the documents were the cover story, meticulously cataloged and released to satisfy the Freedom of Information Act requirements. But then came the deep dive, the exploration into the annexes labeled with seemingly innocuous titles like Project Dust Bowl Meteorological Analysis or Hydraulic System Maintenance Report B4. These were the files the government thought no one would care about, the technical fluff designed to look boring. And that's where the real horror began to emerge. In one of the Dust Bowl reports, ostensibly detailing weather conditions, there was an abnormal entry from December 1953. Atmospheric interference anomaly, non-ionizing particle impact, retrieval protocol Delta 6 initiated. That terminology doesn't describe a U-2 crash or a weather balloon pop. Delta 6? That sounded chillingly specific and highly sensitive. This is where the emotional punch of the documents truly hits home. As researchers cross-referenced these cryptic annexes, they began to piece together a timeline that deviated sharply from the official narrative. There were recurring references to exotic metallurgy and reverse-engineered propulsion methodologies that had absolutely zero correlation with known Earth-based projects of the time. The reports spoke of materials that exhibited isotopic ratios inconsistent with terrestrial formation, a scientific way of saying this stuff didn't come from Earth. Suddenly, those blurry photos and shaky witness testimonies weren't just anecdotal evidence. They were being confirmed by the very government agencies that had spent a lifetime calling those witnesses liars and fabricating stories about swamp gas. One memo, stamped Top Secret Crypto and dated 1968, was particularly shocking. It detailed an operational mandate instructing personnel to reclassify all recovered debris exhibiting unique structural integrity under the cover designation Project Blue Sky Weather Balloon Fragments. This single line proved, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the government had a systematic, decades-long policy of deliberate disinformation. They didn't just deny UFOs. They actively manufactured plausible, terrestrial explanations for objects they internally knew were utterly alien. Imagine the betrayal, the realization that they weren't protecting us from external threats, but protecting themselves from public scrutiny, controlling the narrative of human existence itself. The documents also contained transcripts of interviews with retired engineers and maintenance staff, seemingly mundane reports included to pad the file count. But one interview transcript with an individual identified only as Source Alpha 7 stood out. Alpha 7 described witnessing specialized personnel attempting to operate a triangular object found in the desert. The description wasn't of a conventional craft. It was described as seamless, constructed from a single lightweight molecular lattice. Alpha 7 went on to detail a horrific accident where 3 personnel were hospitalized after exposure to the craft's internal energy field, resulting in severe psychological trauma and radiation burns unlike any seen before. This wasn't theoretical physics. This was an eyewitness account of a catastrophic failure involving alien technology. The emotional toll of reading these documents cannot be overstated. It moves beyond intellectual curiosity and strikes at the core of one's perception of reality. To see the black and white proof, the bureaucratic memos confirming the reality of advanced, non-human technology being stored and studied just a few hundred miles from major cities, creates a profound sense of awe and dread. It confirmed that we are, and have been, participating in a massive, secret project aimed at weaponizing technology we barely understand. The document suggests that the primary goal wasn't just research, it was replication. A desperate race to harness powers that could either save or destroy humanity. And then we hit the jackpot, the file that was clearly meant to remain buried forever, attached digitally through an apparent indexing error to a 1980s sanitation report. This file was an annex designated Biological Retrieval Protocol, Project Sigma. Project Sigma. The name sounds like something ripped straight out of a horror movie. Unlike the other files, this annex was almost entirely handwritten, the paper scans showing signs of aging and hurried handling. It detailed the aftermath of a retrieval operation near Roswell, New Mexico, which officially never happened, confirming the Roswell incident was definitively real and far more complex than a mere crash of military hardware. This section, Project Sigma, explicitly detailed the handling and preservation of 3 non-viable biological specimens, including detailed, albeit crude, anatomical sketches. I'm talking about descriptions of bodies that were small, frail, with oversized craniums and hands possessing only 3 elongated fingers. The emotional intensity reading this part was overwhelming. It was the moment the myth solidified into gruesome reality. The analysis notes accompanying the sketches referenced unknown cellular structures and respiratory systems functioning without apparent pulmonary mechanism. The sheer scientific and existential implication of these findings is staggering. But the most disturbing part of the Project Sigma documents wasn't the confirmation of alien bodies. It was the mention of what happened afterward. A follow-up memo indicated that the specimens, after initial study, were moved to a deeper, more secured facility within Area 51, and that all data regarding their existence was to be permanently excised from public records, and even from internal military archives, only accessible under a specific Tier 0 clearance. The language used was cold, clinical, and completely devoid of any recognition of the profound discovery they were hiding. It was just a problem to be contained, an asset to be exploited, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world. The question then becomes, if they had this knowledge in the 40s and 50s, what did they achieve in the 60 years since? The documents suggest a massive budget was poured into a project codenamed Looking Glass, which seemed less about understanding alien biology and more about utilizing alien engineering principles for terrestrial application. We are talking about leaps in fiber optics, stealth radar evasion, and even early concepts of superconductors, all secretly back-engineered from the materials recovered decades prior. The technological boom of the late 20th century, which we attributed to human ingenuity, might actually have been a calculated release of secondary knowledge gleaned from these extraterrestrial sources. The realization that our entire modern technological framework may be standing on the shoulders of alien giants is truly humbling and terrifying. It makes you wonder how much farther advanced our civilization would be if this knowledge hadn't been hoarded by a select few military and intelligence officers obsessed with maintaining power and control. Imagine the medical advancements, the energy breakthroughs, and the space travel potential that were deliberately stifled for decades, all because of the fear of public panic and the desire to possess absolute military superiority over rival nations. The secrecy wasn't about protecting us. It was about protecting their unilateral advantage. As we move deeper into the final phases of these files, the tone shifts from historical documentation to urgent, near-future planning. The later documents, from the late 90s, suggest a crisis of containment. The original facility at Area 51 was becoming compromised, not by leaks, but by the sheer strain of housing so much unknown technology that generated anomalous energy fields, causing intermittent power outages and psychological distress among the long-term staff. They were housing power sources that they couldn't shut down, systems that operated on principles they couldn't decipher, creating a ticking time bomb right in the desert. This led to the planning stages of a new, much deeper, and even more concealed facility, often referenced by the chilling codename, Site Janus. Site Janus wasn't just meant for storage, it was designed for escalation. The documents talk about moving the most volatile artifacts, including the biological specimens and the core propulsion systems, to this new, geographically isolated location, deep underground, sealed against all but the most catastrophic terrestrial events. The intent was clear. They were moving the game pieces, not ending the game. The truth was being buried deeper, ensuring that the secrecy could continue for another 100 years, away from even the remote possibility of public observation. The official story for the recent document release was budget transparency and a shifting priority away from Cold War-era secrecy. But after reading the chilling details contained within the thousands of pages, I think the real reason is far more calculating and sinister. They didn't release the files because they wanted to be honest. They released the historical files that confirmed decades-old events because they knew the truly vital, dangerous operations had been successfully transferred to Site Janus, rendering the old Area 51 files obsolete and harmless in comparison. The truth they gave us was history. The true current threat remains hidden, relocated, and far more lethal. And that brings us to the moment of absolute shock. The very last file in the entire digital dump, an anonymous edition labeled simply Forward Operating Status Report 001. It wasn't signed, dated, or indexed properly. It was almost certainly meant to be destroyed. This report confirmed the full relocation to Site Janus was completed, and then came the line that made me put my head in my hands. The analysis of the recovered alien propulsion system has finally yielded results. They didn't just understand it, they replicated it. They had moved beyond reverse engineering and entered a phase of proactive development, meaning whatever advanced propulsion system was housed at Area 51 is now fully operational, perhaps weaponized at Site Janus. But here is the final mind-numbing twist. The thing that makes the alien cover-up look like a footnote in a larger, darker story. The final sentence in that anonymous report wasn't about the aliens or the technology, but about the control. It stated, the most successful deception was not convincing them that we had no aliens. It was convincing them that the only thing we were looking for was life outside of Earth. The shock? These documents, these thousands of pages, were not just about extraterrestrials. They were the foundation for a massive, secret human project. A technology so powerful, it allowed an elite group to control global events, resources, and even weather patterns for decades. Area 51 wasn't just hiding UFOs. It was hiding the birth of a shadow government that achieved godlike power, making the alien recovery merely the initial spark for their human-led, tyrannical dominance. The extraterrestrial element was just the ultimate distraction. So, friends, the deepest secret of Area 51 was not the what, but the who and the why. They weren't fighting aliens. They were leveraging alien tech to wage war on humanity's free will. And these documents prove that the technology is now fully operational, far away from public scrutiny, in a new, unfindable location. If this information didn't completely blow your mind, I don't know what will. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're feeling overwhelmed by this monumental truth, let me know in the comments below what you think the true purpose of Site Janus is, and definitely subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. You need to spread this knowledge because the game isn't over, it's just moved locations. I'll catch you next time, keep looking up, but maybe start looking down too, because the threats are closer than we ever imagined.